Hello. Handling relationship breakup anxiety or a divorce anxiety. Breakup and divorce can be powerfully overwhelming because there's so many life changes happening, so many decisions to make, all alongside that pain of the loss of the situation of the breakup itself. And all of that can lead to heightened levels of anxiety and sensitivity to what is happening around us. It might be fear for the future. It might be fear of being alone. It might be fear of handling things on your own and feeling incapable of doing, handling life generally or specifically. It can feel that life is out of control. And the whole thing's just overwhelming and increases those levels of anxiety. The first thing I would say is breathe, because when we're in that heightened anxious state, the breath tends to come up here. We tend to shallow breathe. So the energy is held here. The mind is very busy, and the mind, of course, goes round and round in circles, and it will chatter away and make it very difficult to pause and listen and make good decisions. So by breathing, what you do is you breathe down into the abdomen, just below the navel. Breathe deeply, quietly, gently into the abdomen, and you'll feel the energy move from up here and down, and a sense of calm will come. Because when the energy is up here, when we're in a panic state, anxiety state, the mind is busy, what we're doing is we're putting ourselves in what's known as the fight or flight mode, which means our body is producing lots of the stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, ready for us to fight whatever the problem is or run from whatever the problem is. And that's okay if we're in that sort of situation. But if it carries on for any length of time, what we're doing is we're keeping the body in that mode for a long time, and those stress hormones are flooding the body, and the energy is moving from the organs, for example, into the arms and the legs ready for action. And that can cause not only health problems, but also it makes it very hard to make good decisions for your life and to live. We're not we're just in that panic mode. It just increases the levels of anxiety rather than helping to bring them down. So breathing down into the abdomen is a really good thing to do. Pausing. You may feel that, yes, I've got to do this, and this. I haven't got time to stop. But actually, if you can take those few minutes out, life will flow that much better, because we're making better decisions. We're seeing the bigger picture more easily, and we're not just bouncing and reacting all the time. It can also be helpful if you can, to do that breathing out in nature with your feet on the grass. If you can walk in nature, or if you've got a garden, and just take that time to connect, that can be really helpful as well. Just helps to calm things down and get that perspective. The other thing I would say, and this is a favorite saying of mine I've had for years, which is, you don't have to be strong to be strong. And what I take that to mean is it's actually okay to allow yourself to fall apart if you need to, because then you can put yourself back together again, because you're going to let those feelings out rather than holding on to them and still trying to do everything. So it's another way of clearing out. It's like, okay, I don't have to do everything. I don't have to be everything for everybody. I just have to be now in this moment. And if that means letting feelings out and through you, then great, because you're not bad and you're not a failure because things are difficult and because you're finding a lot of things tricky, overwhelming, challenging. You're a human being doing absolutely the best you can, and for that you're a star. All you need to do is take one step at a time. Bring yourself to the present, concentrate on that one step that you need to take today or this minute. And then you move on to the next step. And then you move on to the next step, but always in the present moment. So you're not worrying about the future. You're not fretting about the past. You're concentrating on what you're doing here and now. And that's really important for a number of reasons, but especially because the only time we've got to live is now. And if we're in the present, we're concentrating on the present, then it's going to be much harder, or it's going to be less easy, put it that way, to slip into those patterns of anxiety. And the other thing is that if we just take things one step at a time, that's all we need to concentrate on. We don't know what the future steps we're going to have to take are. Things can change, doors can open, opportunities happen. So we may not have to take those steps we're worrying about or anxious about. That may not come to pass. So all we need to do is to focus on now. And if there's a practical issue that you're concerned about, a lot of particularly women who find themselves living on their own are worried about maybe house maintenance and that sort of thing, then Google's a fabulous resource. YouTube's got demonstrations on pretty much everything. You can do a lot more than you'll likely give yourself credit for. And that really boosts your confidence and ability to feel comfortable with your new situation. I had a situation with a tumble dryer door when I was at my lowest. I had young children, the laundry was overwhelming, it was winter, it was wet, it was cold, and all this washing needed drying, and the door fell off, and it was the last straw, fell on the floor, big heap, crying, because I just had enough. I just felt overwhelmed by it all. But of course, when I'd finished crying and felt a bit better actually, but the tumble dryer door was still on the floor, took a breath, had a look, can I see what the problem is? And within 5-10 minutes, I sorted it, put this pin in here, that pin here, balanced that around there, and off we went. And the sense of achievement there, I've remembered this. It's such a turning point. It was, I can do this. It told me I can do this. I just need to, let the feelings out. That all that frustration came out. It was not about the tumble dryer door. Let the feelings out. And then when that quiet space comes again, I'm just going to tackle it step by step. What we're saying overall here then, just to draw it to a conclusion, is you have, to be very blunt, you have a choice. When we're in resistance, we're staying in that anxiety, we're staying in the pain, the loss. That's one choice. The other choice is let go, allow things to happen. There's no need to control every aspect of the situation or people. Begin to embrace the change, and there's such relief when you do that. And then you can hear your next step more easily, you can see the bigger picture more easily, and opportunities will open up. So there's a few ideas on how to handle a relationship breakup or divorce anxiety.